And you can still feel the heartache in this community. Last night we spoke to a man who believed that he lost his two best friends when the plane came down on their house. Unfortunately, tonight police confirmed that that was reality. NTSB and the FAA just starting to make sense of what went wrong. And of course, we're here at the hotel. As I was saying, there's a lot of evacuees here, and we were talking to people who live just 2 miles away, a lot of them in mobile home parks, and they say they totally expect that they will not go back to their homes in one piece, but they're hoping that they'll have their lives, they'll have their safety here. And there's such a sense of community, even in the lobby. There's sort of a potluck among people that know each other from this area. So they're just trying to be positive that at least they'll have their safety here in this hotel. Good morning. It's unfortunate it's at a time when rent is already going up year over year, pricing people out in many cases out of the Sunshine State, out of Tampa Bay. And now the DOJ is saying even more renters suffered because these landlords were working together to keep rental prices extremely high. Hi there, Mark. Well, I've spoken with dozens of homeowners across the last several weeks and months. They're frustrated, they're devastated, and now they're being told they might have to tear down and they can never move back into their homes. And they think this is because of extremely low home valuations. But for the first time today, I sat down with the Pinellas County property appraiser, and he answered some questions about these low numbers.
Correspondent Evyn is live for us at the White House tonight with more on this very big trip for the administration. Evyn.
Hi, Kelsey. Yeah, as you said, there are many reasons why this is an extremely high stakes and tense trip for the Secretary of State. But Blinken stressed earlier this week that there's an importance to keeping this bilateral relationship on solid ground. Yeah, there's been a lot of reaction here in Washington to these internal conflicts among Russian forces. The general consensus, though, we are hearing from U.S. officials here, they're keeping a very close eye, monitoring this very fluid situation. The White House issuing a statement.
Evyn, how are they celebrating the win?
Well, you can hear the music. There's been a ton of people all night, but it's official. Rick Scott will keep his job for another 6 years. He won his second term in the U.S. Senate. People have been here since 6 p.m., around 7 p.m. Rick Scott came in, but this race was called really early. Good morning. Yeah, most of these big weed companies say it's only a matter of time before recreational weed is legalized in the Sunshine State. And as we know, there's already hundreds of dispensaries operating, selling medical marijuana in the state, and they were prepping for the passage of this back in 2024, hoping that it would legalize recreationally. But now they're looking towards 2026, already coming up with new plans to get it on the ballot. Hi, Natasha. Yeah, it seems like Groundhog Day, another presidential campaign where COVID-19 is a hotly debated topic. The two GOP frontrunners, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, weighing in on this week. Now, this is all unprecedented. The son of a sitting president facing criminal charges as his father runs for re-election, likely against Donald Trump, who we know is facing criminal charges of his own. Natasha. Yeah. Well, as you saw, we didn't hear much. Kevin McCarthy there speaking for what felt like only less than a minute or two, but saying that they did come to a deal, that he was set to speak with President Biden again tomorrow. Hi, Allie. Yeah, well, it's still very windy out here. Some of the rain has subsided for now, but last hour when we spoke to you, we were in more residential areas, and the river had already breached. It was going up into the sidewalks and hopefully staying still far away from homes. But now I'm right downtown Newport Richey. We're actually standing on a bridge above the river, and I'm going to have my photographer Scott show you. Yeah, Mark, from rising insurance costs to hundreds of thousands in repair costs, people lost everything, and they do not want to go through this again. I spoke with realtors as well as 2 residents on this street here in Shore Acres who say they're not coming back. Hi, good morning. Yeah, we can all relax a little bit, stop stressing over those models. It is the end of hurricane season, but we have to remember it's the beginning for a lot of people. A lot of people are at the beginning of rebuilding their homes, restaurants, and entire beach towns. It's official. Grand Prix weekend has begun, and that means there are tons of fans out celebrating. Now, this event brings 200,000 people to downtown St. Pete, and I can tell you the restaurants here are showing out. The restaurant behind me says it's basically their Super Bowl, inviting drivers and fans tonight. Oh my gosh, that is an understatement. I mean, Lionel Messi is literally 30 feet from me right now practicing on the field. It's just an incredible energy. Obviously, tens of thousands of people came from not just all over the country, but all over the world to see him play, to see these 2 major teams in Florida play. It is that time of year, Tampa's time-honored tradition, the Gasparilla Parade, which has been going on for over 100 years. And fun fact, it is the 3rd largest parade in the entire country. So, of course, that means tons of floats. Over 150 are expected on Saturday. And we got a sneak peek at over a dozen of them being stored in this storage facility. So Are you ready? Because we're going to show you some of them. That's right. Alabama and Michigan both officially landed in the Sunshine State, and they came to their hotels in downtown Tampa today. They were welcomed by a lot of fans who are very excited. This is a very big game. It's a good thing for Tampa, not just fun times for locals, but also financially bringing millions to our hotels, restaurants, and businesses here. She actually thought she might die. We heard her story tonight, and we also stepped inside a 737 flight simulator to see exactly what pilots would have seen and heard when they got to that altitude. That's right. Can you believe they've been doing this for 43 years? I mean, this has been happening in this community to bring people together and start the holiday season. And I can tell you, it's my first year out here, but there are hundreds of people. When we came out early this afternoon, chairs were already all lined up. Let me go ahead and show you just how many people are out here now.